Hello folks out there, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is the original DJ Raj from the Sonic Crew, and I'm here today excited to talk to you about the newly leaked Pioneer DDJ REV 7 and REV 1. Now Pioneer already released a teaser video a few days ago. If you want to go check it out, it's on Twitter, on Pioneer DJ's own feed. If you haven't seen it, it's actually worth checking it out. It's a very, very short, maybe 25 seconds or so long video, which basically teases you and gives you a whole bunch of ideas of what it might be. Now, there'll be a lot of information coming out and leaked out, actually, I should say. Nothing official by Pioneer. And the information I'm about to share with you today, I've gathered from various different sources over the last few days, because I've been looking forward to this specific controller ever since the Rane One came out last year. Now, before we get started, I'm a mobile DJ, okay? And I've been DJing for a long time. I started DJing when I was 15 years old. I stopped when I got married, restarted again a few years ago. And when I restarted a few years ago, I went the controller route. Being a mobile DJ, I want things which are easy to set up and easy to tear down. So controller route was the fastest and the best, and I also already had a large collection of MP3s which I collected over the years, so it made that process and that decision making much easier. However, I've been wanting to go back into turntablism and scratching for a while. It's one thing I've missed, and I'd like to go back into it again. So when the Rane One came out last year, I was very, very much interested in getting it. However, due to the fact that it did not have hardware effects, it did not have 4 channels, and it kind of forced me to go to Serato, I decided not to go that route at the moment and wait till see what Pioneer comes out with. So, why is this so exciting? Well, let me show this to you. It is the first Pioneer's motorized jog wheel DDJ controller being introduced. This is what I call a hero shot, top view. We'll talk about the details shortly as to what's where, but you can sort of see it basically has 2 jog wheels each side mirrored, with the difference being the pitch faders are on the top, like the battle style turntables that most hip hop DJs and turntablists go for. In the middle is very much similar to the Pioneer's the S7. It's similar to also S9 and 11, but the 11's got the bigger screen in the middle and the top, but this is more like the S7 mixer, where the filter and the trim knobs are separated from the EQ knobs. We'll get into that in a second later on, but this is what it looks like overall. Now, we should compare this to a turntable. By the way, the slides I'm going to show you, every single one of them are actually supposedly, I'm going to say supposedly, a Pioneer presentation deck that was sent to their dealers. Okay? I happen to get some shots here and there from different sources online, and I'm going to assume this is correct just because I got them from different sources, and they follow the same kind of look and feel and the format of the slides. Now, you can sort of see here the layout of the this is by the way the DDJ REV 7, the Revolution 7. They're going to launch 2 products, REV 7 and REV 1. I will talk about the REV 1 later on. Right now we're talking about the REV 7. You can see the look and feel is very similar to having 2 turntables and the S7, 9, or 11 mixer in the middle. All right. So that's what they're going for. Now, who are they targeting? Well, they're targeting open format and battle style DJs. Okay. Now, this is from their own slide, by the looks of it. They want to target mobile DJs as well as the top 40 general DJs, open format DJs, people who play all kinds of great music. But they're also focusing on people who are on Serato. Okay? My personal hope is that they actually also expand that to cover things like Rekordbox and Virtual DJ. I personally am and have been a user of Rekordbox ever since I restarted to DJ. So I wish that was one of the things that they would actually start doing, but that's what they're targeting. Now, in terms of what is actually all in there. So from a top view of the controller, what's not obvious on the jog wheels, apparently when you watch the teaser video, it looks like the top of the jog wheel has a vinyl kind of a texture. Okay. It's to give it a vinyl feel, which differs quite a bit from Rane One, where they actually give you some kind of vinyl platter to put on top. Okay. So this is already supposedly built-in texture on the top of the jog wheel. So what do we have here to play with? Well, if you look at the jog wheel section, on the top side we got the browser knob, and right underneath we have the load buttons. And so there's 4 buttons at the bottom which are related to the instant scratch mode. And if the instant scratch mode is turned off, they basically become your standard for hot cues, a sampler mode, whatever you set them out to be. Okay. Then you've got your little knob for the stop knob, which adjusts the speed of the stop speed of the motorized jog wheel. The interesting thing is on the jog wheel you also have a display. So it basically is a display in the middle, and what we're going to assume is the actual jog wheel on the outside is more like a donut shaped, which rotates. Okay. Notice the absence of a cue button. Okay, you have a play and stop button at the bottom right, which replicates a turntable, but I believe that there is a cue button that we can probably use on the mixer side somewhere. Okay. Then you've got the 34, 35 selection RPM buttons, and the other thing we got is the pitch bend button, which is the left-hand side of the bottom left of the jog wheel. If we focus a bit more on the mixer side, so you've got the 3 band EQs, you've got the the filter knobs which are not aligned with the same lineup as the EQs, but they're in a separate lineup, just like it is on the S7 mixer. What I like about this is you also have the ability to actually add turntables or additional channels to this. So they actually give you a channel assigned switch on the top there. However, what that means is this is not a 4-channel mixer, it still is a 2-channel mixer. I was really hoping that this would become a 4-channel one. And then they've got the FX or effects paddles or levers as they call them, and you got your standard pad modes. Okay, you've also got the actually it's a Magville fader, which is a pro version, which is fantastic to see, and they've also got the built-in hardware effects, which is also fantastic to see. Now, this is the introduction slide that they actually, Pioneer actually launched. Actually, Pioneer has shown their dealers with a whole bunch of information. But the bottom line here is, what they're saying is it is going to be a motorized jog wheel with display built in, and what they say, a tactile connection with your music. So I think the tactile connection means that when you're able to touch the top of the jog wheel, it will feel like vinyl. Okay. Some of the key takeaways from here, which I've already mentioned, is that it is going to be Serato based at the moment only, and what else? 2 channels and hardware effects. Now, the other thing I want to mention is it clearly also mentions here there's no support for Rekordbox, which basically just reinforces what I've been saying before. So let's take a look at the back of the controller. So there's obviously that you give you a separate power button. It obviously has its own separate power supply, and it's got 2 microphone inputs. One is a combo XLR/1/4 inch, and the other one is a standard 1/4 inch input. Okay, you've got your phono 1 or phono 2 inputs as well as an aux input. So this is actually really cool if you really need the ability to be able to plug in your phone for backup streaming or backup music from Spotify or Tidal or wherever. You can play through there. Okay, and it's got two dual USB, so which is fantastic to see, both Type A and Type B. Okay, you got boot output. You've got your XLR output as well too, the main output, and for your master output, it also has an RCA connection. So it's pretty good. It's got almost everything that you really want to see here. Now, what's the front look like? So this picture here shows you both the front, the back, and the side view of the controller. I'll zoom a little bit on the front view. So on the left-hand side, you've got the controls, both the low and the highs for the microphones, and even an echo controller as well too, along with the volume controls for the mic. So that's kind of good. Everything is right there. In the middle, you've got the ability to control, the speed and stuff like that, and your etc. In the top, blah, blah. On the right-hand side, you've got two headphone jacks, 3.5 millimeters and 1/8, I should say, as well as a 1/4 inch jack. Far right, you've got your Q and headphone jack control. Sorry, far right, I should say, is the aux controls. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. It'd be nice to, I don't know if you can. It's not clear enough to see if that actually is something we can enter as one of the channels which we can control from the mixer. At the moment, it looks like it's a separate feature altogether. Okay, so let's get into some of the features that they've got here. So let's talk about the motorized platter. All right, so it is a 7-inch, hence the name REV 7. Okay, and they're saying that they have a high resolution screen in the middle for a very cool display, which we'll get into shortly as well too. You know what? I mean, you can read everything yourself. You can also pause this video anytime to get more details of what the words are all. Now, what they've also done is obviously they've given us the ability to adjust the torque, but they've also given us the ability to replace the slip sheets that go between the platter and the motor at the bottom. Okay. I believe the torque adjust here is probably just a little bit less than the one that they have in Rane One, but it is still pretty good. The fader, it is a Magwell Fader Pro, so we're getting some really good quality stuff coming over here. We're able to adjust the feeling, which I believe, yes, also located on the front of the controller. Okay. This is actually perfect for us. For DJs, and I actually use the fader quite a bit, not just for scratching, but even for normal transitioning of songs. Okay. Now, they've also introduced a few new special effects here, where you're able to set parameters on the screen, and so they've got three new effects that they've introduced: duck down, helix out, and fill echo out. Okay. We are able to control that as well too from the settings on the Serato page, as well as you can control the settings for the smooth echo button, which is also separated. So one thing I like what that specific area here, that these are most of the key effects like echo and reverb and fanger and stuff like that are actually hardware effects, which is what I was looking for. The jog wheel, it has a display, and you can do it has different kinds of displays. Okay. One of the things that looks from this picture over here is not only are you able to see the waveform of the song on that specific jog wheel or that deck, you can also see the waveform for the other deck. So it also helps you sort of make sure that if you're visually looking to help you beat match, it's actually fantastic for that. The other great thing is it also will show you a digital marker, which is fantastic for turbulence as well as scratch artists. Okay, great to know where to cut in and cut out. Okay, talking about the actual jog wheel marker, you're able to turn that on and off just by double tapping the RPM buttons. Okay, and there are different settings which are able to pick the different diameter of how big that, the width of how big that marker should be. The other thing that they've done really good with the jog wheel is they've given you the ability to also add your own artwork. Okay? Your artwork could be the actual artwork from the album itself, or it could be DJ's own logo. And they give you the little utility where you're actually able to insert and import your logo into the controller directly, which is a really cool little thing. Another great thing that they've actually come up with is streaming support. So this is really good for a lot of DJs who've been streaming and looking, typically us DJs who stream a lot, we need a third party, an external mixer with a USB connection to use that to stream audio outwards. But here, they're giving you the ability to stream audio right from within Serato and the same computer that you're using to play music from. Provided, of course, the computer that you're using has enough bandwidth to play run both Serato as well as any broadcasting software like OBS or whatever. But the fact they built it right in here is fantastic. Okay. So overall, how does this compare to the Rane One versus Rev 7? My apologies, the top of the picture got cut off, so I just superimposed my own names there just for clarity. Okay. So one of the big differences, yes, you notice the price there as well too. The price for the Rev 7 is going to be $1,900 US. Okay. So it's about $500 more than, actually $400 more, I should say, than the Rane One. Okay. So it is more, but you are getting hardware effects, and you are getting a whole bunch of, you're getting the digital waveform right in the jog wheel. Okay. You're also getting ability to change your artwork, stuff like that, which is nice, and nice little features. I'm not sure if some of those things like your own logo and artwork are worth $400, but just the ability to actually have hardware effects with the toggle switch, as well as the waveforms being displayed, that is a very, very good feature. All right. It's slightly bigger as well compared to Rane One. Okay. Both obviously use Serato. What else can I tell you here? You can read the rest yourself. For many of the other features, actually, it's on par. So when's this coming out? Well, what I've been told is the official press release is supposed to go out tomorrow, January 13th. What I've been told is within Canada, where I'm based here in Toronto, to expect the Rev 1 by end of January, and probably middle of February for the Rev 7. Okay, so what that tells me, because Canada typically gets supply 1 to 2 weeks after the US does, we can probably expect the US market to get it starting probably next week to end of January for Rev 1, and probably end of January for Rev 7. Okay. So this is the official kind of, so if this is all true, this is the official view from Pioneer. Okay. Now, I've also got a slide here on the full specs, what's supposed to be included. I did a very, very quick comparison between the measurements and dimensions of the Rev 7 to the DDJ 1000. From a length and height and depth perspective, the Rev 7 is just slightly bigger than the DDJ 1000. However, it's almost twice as heavy. All right? It'll come out to about 23 pounds, where the DDJ 1000 is 13 pounds. So we're looking at 10 pounds more, and that's obviously because of the motorized platters. Okay. Now we'll be talking about the Rev 7. The Rev 1. Well, there's not much information about the Rev 1 out there as we've found for Rev 7, but the Rev 1, this is a picture that's been floating around on the internet from a company that makes cases and travel cases for different controllers. And this here is the Rev 1, which will also be a Serato-based controller. However, it will not have motorized jog wheels. Okay? It's a bit smaller. It's missing some of the stuff that the Rev 7 has, like the display in the middle and some other buttons as well too. And some of the, I'm sure it's going to have less effects. Okay, this is supposed to be the new replacement for the SB3. I shouldn't say replacement, but that's targeting the same market. So it wouldn't surprise me if this eventually does become the replacement for SB3. This is rumored to be listed for $400 Canadian. So let's say approximately $300 US. Okay, so you can see already that they're going for the similar target market as the SB3. Anyways, so now that you've seen a lot about this stuff here, okay, so what are your thoughts? Right? Is this for you? Well, personally, you know, I love everything they've done about it. The only thing I wish they had done differently was added support for rekordbox. Okay? I really don't want to change my whole ecosystem from rekordbox to Serato. Okay? I mean, it means not only having to convert my entire database of all the tracks, which like a lot of mobile DJs have, you know, tons and tons of tracks. You know, it's one thing converting the database, but now I have to convert all of the cue points. So, you know, my style of library management is I use hot cues to help me figure out where I should enter, okay, the next song and transition into it. Basically, you know, I can pick different parts of the song where I want to start the song from. For outros or where I should exit, I use memory cue points in rekordbox to help me figure out where I can exit anytime I want. Okay. So you can imagine after, you know, a long time, we've got many tracks that have been queued up this way. I cannot even transfer that memory cue information from rekordbox to Serato. I wish I could. I can do hot cues, but I'm going to lose one or the other. Okay? And it's a lot of work to transition and export all that information. Okay? You know, I'm glad that it has hardware effects. I'm also you know, glad that it's got the display in the jog wheel. I wish it did have 4 channels, especially sometime for mobile DJing and when you're doing weddings, sometimes 4 channel can come in handy for having a whole bunch of tracks loaded for speeches and for wedding introductions and stuff like that. Okay. Yes, there are workarounds which I use today, but it'd be nice if that was available. Now, will they be launching a rekordbox version soon? I hope so. Okay. Just like they did with the DDJ 1000, they came up with the SRT version about, you know, I think it was a few months to a year later. So I'm hoping a few months to a year later, they come up with a rekordbox version of the Rev 7. Will you be going for this? Will you be buying this? Please let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button at the bottom and hit the notification bell so anytime I get new videos, you will get notified. Thank you so much and have a great day.